Welcome to a brand new explainer. You know, when we hear the name Albert Einstein, our brains almost instantly go to the exact same image, right? The wild hair, the incredibly complex equations on a chalkboard, and just this aura of unapproachable, otherworldly genius. We tend to imagine an intellect so vast that it completely reshaped how humanity understands the universe. And well, it did. But today, we're actually going to look way beyond the legend. We're diving into the source material to uncover the actual, daily, actionable habits that transformed him into history's greatest scientist. As you'll see, his monumental achievements weren't just the result of raw, untouchable intelligence. It was actually about a highly structured, super-intentional approach to his everyday life and work.
And that brings up a really profound question. Was Einstein simply born with a brain that was just so fundamentally different from ours that his success was basically guaranteed from day one? Or did he just operate using a completely different blueprint? For decades now, society has really leaned into this whole born genius myth, creating this narrative that people like him are just unreachable anomalies. But the material we're examining today firmly challenges that idea. It actually suggests that his unprecedented, world-changing success was rooted in a very specific set of daily habits. Habits that, quite frankly, anyone can adopt. So this isn't just a history lesson. It's practically a how-to guide for your own life.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The real secret to success.
To really understand the man, we have to start right at the foundation of his character. And spoiler alert, it didn't start in a high-tech laboratory or with some massive mathematical formula. It started entirely within his own internal mindset. This brings us to his very first major habit. You see, while the average person tends to just accept information blindly, nodding along, memorizing facts for a test, and moving on, Einstein operated completely differently. From a very young age, he possessed this relentless, almost obsessive curiosity. There's this famous story about his father showing him a simple pocket compass when he was just 5 years old. Now, instead of just accepting that the needle moved and thinking, oh, neat, he was completely captivated by the invisible forces driving it. He absolutely refused to accept any fact, any rule, or any phenomenon without deeply understanding it first. He was basically the kid who never stopped asking why, and he carried that exact same childhood curiosity straight into his adult scientific career.
Which brings us to this brilliantly simple core philosophy of his. The person who stops asking questions stops learning. It sounds incredibly basic, doesn't it? But honestly, it's profound. Einstein firmly believed that the exact moment you lose that inquisitive nature, the moment you stop actively interrogating the world around you, your intellectual growth just completely flatlines. It was this exact unyielding curiosity that directly paved the way for his most groundbreaking discoveries. So for those of us watching who are really focused on learning and growing, here is your first actionable takeaway. Cultivate your curiosity. Challenge the status quo, and make it a daily habit to just ask questions, no matter how elementary they might seem to you at the time.
Section 2. Mindset of a Genius.
So once that spark of curiosity was lit, how did his mind actually function on a daily basis? Well, it really came down to a massive capacity for deep thinking, which we can break down into 3 distinct steps. First, face a difficult question head-on. Second, analyze it from absolutely every conceivable angle. And third, find the solution through deep, foundational comprehension. Keep in mind, Einstein never made hasty decisions. Back when he was working as a humble clerk in the Swiss Patent Office, he wasn't rushing to publish half-baked ideas just to get his name out there. He was totally content to sit with a single complex problem for hours, days, or even weeks. He'd run these incredibly vivid thought experiments in his head, mentally rotating a difficult question and examining it from every single perspective. He believed a true solution only reveals itself when we finally achieve a profound understanding of the problem itself. It's truly a masterclass in patience and cognitive endurance.
And that leads us to perhaps his most famous and absolutely vital habit. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Just let that sink in for a second. For a guy who possessed so much knowledge, why would he elevate imagination above it? Well, it's because knowledge is strictly limited to what we already know and understand right now. Imagination, on the other hand, embraces the entire world. It stimulates progress, and it essentially gives birth to evolution. Einstein actively practiced the habit of imagining new, entirely unprecedented possibilities, like trying to picture what it would actually look like to chase a beam of light through space, long before he ever tried to translate those wild thoughts into mathematical reality. His greatest discoveries weren't just calculated on a chalkboard, they were envisioned in his mind's eye first.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is Section 3, Overcoming Obstacles.
Look, Einstein didn't live in a vacuum.
He faced immense real-world pushback and major external challenges. But he lived his life by this very strict rule. Making a mistake isn't bad, not learning from it is the biggest mistake. It is so absolutely vital to understand that Einstein faced a ton of failures, academic rejections, and intense skepticism from his peers, especially early in his career. He definitely wasn't immune to getting things wrong. But his true superpower? He was completely unafraid of failure. He literally never gave up. Instead of getting down on himself, he systematically viewed every single mistake not as a total defeat, but as a crucial, absolutely necessary stepping stone to learn something entirely new. He basically extracted the data from his failures and used it as fuel to propel himself forward.
And finally, Section 4, the blueprint for success. Now we shift gears to look at his external actions and his lifelong commitment to continuous improvement. This brings us straight to the habit of continuous learning, actively reading books, finding new ideas, and constantly growing your knowledge. What is just so wildly remarkable about Einstein is that even after he achieved massive worldwide fame, and even after he won the Nobel Prize and was universally recognized as a literal genius, he never stopped being a student. He understood a very fundamental truth: learning never truly ends. The person who continues to seek out new books, who actively engages with fresh ideas, and who constantly expands their knowledge base, that is the person who continues to move forward in life. But to facilitate all that incredibly deep thinking and continuous learning, he had to rely on unbelievably strict time management. His philosophy was simple: time is the most precious thing, and we shouldn't waste it on useless things. Einstein was acutely aware of his own mortality and the harsh reality that there are only so many hours in a day, so he ruthlessly eliminated useless distractions. By cutting out all the noise and the little trivialities that consume so much of an average person's day. He famously even simplified his entire wardrobe just so he wouldn't have to waste brain power deciding what to wear every morning. Because of that, he was able to focus all of his immense cognitive energy purely on his most important tasks. He protected his time like it was his most valuable asset, because, well, it absolutely was.
So the crucial point is, when we finally put it all together, always curious, thinking deeply, learning continuously, completely unafraid of failure, using imagination, and fiercely protecting his time, we see the real Albert Einstein. His legacy wasn't forged by some kind of unexplainable magic or an unattainable level of raw, isolated intelligence. Not at all. His success was the direct, undeniable result of combining these 6 specific, highly actionable habits, day in and day out. This right here, this is the structural blueprint of a genius.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a truly powerful thought. Successful people don't do different things, they do things differently. Einstein didn't have access to a different reality than the rest of us. He just approached the one we all share with a much better set of habits. So based on everything we've uncovered today, which of these exact habits are you going to start doing differently today to make your own dreams come true? Thank you so much for joining me to explore this fascinating blueprint. And hey, I challenge you to start applying it to your life right now. Catch you next time.